Before we get started, let me just tell you why I'm doing this YouTube channel. Not because I like seeing myself on video. Actually, anytime I've ever been on TV, I look at myself talking afterwards and it really makes me cringe. But I enjoy hiking, and I spend a lot of time on the trail, but I also spend a lot of time off the trail. A lot of the hikes that I do are bushwhacking, finding places that are off the beaten path, places that nobody really knows exist except for just a select few people who have visited them over the years. And when I go to these places, I like to take pictures and show folks, and a lot of people are amazed at what we've got right here in our own backyard that we really don't know about. Pictures can't do it justice, and a lot of folks can't come out and see it for themselves because they're oftentimes places that are difficult to access, and a lot of people just aren't physically able to come out. And so this is a way of doing it. I actually stumbled across some folks who go on hikes in the Smokies, and they create a video blog of their hikes. And so I said to myself, that would be a pretty cool thing to do here in the Big South Fork, to kind of show the world what we've got here, besides what you can go and you can find on a map, like the Twin Arches and Angel Falls. People know about those places, but places like the one that I'm going to show you today, and hopefully others to come, you're not going to find on any map. And unless you just know where to go, you're not going to be able to find them physically. And so that's what this is all about. So today I'm headed to a place called the Leaners, which is basically just a series of rocks kind of at the end of a ridge overlooking the river, kind of like a rock maze more than anything else. So to get to the Leaners, I'm going to walk in on Old Station Road, which is basically little more than an old road bed that runs through the forest off of Station Camp Road in the Big South Fork. And this is an old road that years ago was the main way to get from the top of the plateau to the river crossing at Station Camp. And then of course, over a period of time, the new road, the modern road that we currently use, was developed. And Old Station Road now, for the most part, is grown up. You'll see as I go along, this trail gets really growed up, and it's pretty thick in spots, kind of muddy in spots, and probably within another 20 years, this roadbed will have disappeared completely into the undergrowth. If you look now along the roadway, you won't even be able to tell really that this road is here unless you know exactly what it is that you're looking for. So it's been raining for most of the day today, but up until today it really had been very dry for the past few weeks here on the Cumberland Plateau, and you're starting to see that manifest itself in the foliage, in the plant life a little bit. These big leaf magnolias are starting to lose their leaves. And by the way, these magnolia trees, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, if this is the right variety, it is the second largest leaf tree in North America. So it's pretty unique because they're very common here in the Big South Fork. So even though it's been really dry this summer, this is by all accounts going to be a pretty good acre year, based on what the deer hunters who have been out in the woods scouting things out tell me. So I can tell you that if I was a squirrel hunter, still, I used to be, this tree here is a spot that I would camp out under, because just judging from the sign on the ground under the tree, the squirrels are really starting to take advantage of it. Now we've actually made it into the bottom of the drainage, and you can see, even though we're still technically on top of the plateau, we have by no means dropped off into the gorge. But you can see, even with this small an elevation change, and just getting near the more moist soils of this drainage, the forest type has changed again. And so now we're dealing primarily with hemlocks and with rhododendron. You can see a couple of those big leaf magnolia up there in the forest canopy. The changing forest types of the Big South Fork is a magnificent thing. And so now we'll start climbing again back towards the top of the ridge. So now I'm back on top of the plateau, and once again, the forest type changes back to the primarily open hardwoods. I think we're getting close now. One thing I didn't do this time is bring a GPS to rely on, which I almost always do if I'm going to bushwhack. But I think that I remember how to get here to where I'm going. I've been there a couple of times. And if I can't find it, then that's my misfortune and a lesson learned, I guess. So the trail now is getting pretty thick. The ridge above me to my right is kind of dropping off a little bit. I'm going to try to head right over the top of this ridge and see what's on the other side. Probably, if I'm guessing, this ridge top and then a deep drainage on the other side is what's going to separate me from where I want to be. Okay, so I'm trying to cheat and pull up my GPS on my phone just to find out exactly where I am in relation to where I need to be. I don't have enough internet signal to do that. It's been so long since I've been in this way from the top that I don't actually remember which finger ridge it is that I need to be on. Several of them break off this main ridge. So I told you that this was bear country, and here is where a bear has been getting himself some dinner. Now the terrain is really getting rough, so if I have misjudged exactly where I'm at and I get down in here and there's no way out, then that's going to be frustrating, to say the least. Okay, so I just lost my grip on a tree and fell from up there. That wasn't very cool. Wasn't very much fun either, and it was actually pretty stupid, but I did find a way to the base of the bluff, although I'm a little dirtier now. And so aside, the terrain of the Big South Fork changes quickly, and boy does it ever. I just stumbled down one bluff, rolled down it, and was walking along what I thought was an open ridge top, and I come up on this. And you can't really tell from a video, but that is at least probably 60 or 70 feet down, straight down. And I don't know yet if I have said that I have no clue where I'm at, but if I haven't, it probably bears repeating. Anytime I get out like this, I always find myself thinking, if I were to not make it back alive for whatever reason, whether it's doing something stupid, falling off a bluff, or whatever, the bright side is that the folks back at the newspaper would have a really great front page story next week. So all would not be lost. That is where I came to a minute ago, and the edge of the earth just dropped off. So you can kind of get a better picture from down here. That is a long way up. So to kind of put that in perspective, that is about the same height as the Twin Arches. So I've worked my way around to the west side of this ridge, and this is not looking promising at all. Well, I left home thinking that this was going to be just a short little hike. Obviously, that has turned out not to be the case at all. Still working my way around the end of the ridge, finding out that I am not at all where I'd hoped to be. But I also think the next ridge south of here may be where I want to wind up. So I'm just going to continue following the base of this cliff. Let's see what I find. So there's a natural spring kind of flowing out from under this rock here, and it's a pretty good sized rock shelter, really. Judging from the ground, there have been no two-legged critters besides myself who have stepped foot in here for a long time. There have been a number of four-legged critters in here, however. There's deer, raccoon, bobcat, and eight-legged critters too. Just judging from the way that this appears to be a really narrow finger ridge that really extends a long way out from the main part of the ridge. This is probably my destination right here. This is probably what I'm looking for. This looks like a big crack in the rock, like a really big crack in the rock. And if that be the case, then I may have found what I'm looking for. If this is a pass-through crack that I can walk through, then I found the rock maze that are referred to as the leaners. So let's just walk up here and see what we've got. Looks good so far. There's where I've come from. And this is bound to be it, because this is a pawpaw. This is one of the very few, well, the only place, in fact, in the Big South Fork where I have found a pawpaw tree. And pawpaws are fruit, wild fruit, native to this area. For the early settlers of the Appalachians, it was a pretty important fruit. Obviously, it's not something you're going to find in the produce section at the grocery store, but they're actually pretty good if you eat them. If you eat too much, or if you eat the skin, then you'll wind up curled up in the fetal position, wishing that you hadn't to. But if you eat them the right way, no doubt that was a big part of the Indians' diet too. And this is going to sound really strange, but in the several times that I've come in here over the years and found these fruits on the ground, I've yet to actually locate the tree that they're falling out of. Somewhere on top of those rocks, no doubt. But anyway, this is it. And this is called the leaners. Video and photo cannot do it justice. But basically, the end of this rock wall that I've been walking around has broken into many, many big, huge pieces of rock that are as big as 2-story and even 3-story houses down the edge of this ridge. And over time, the erosion has kind of washed it all away, or at least washed the dirt away, and left the rock exposed. And so what you end up with is a rock maze. So I'm gonna go check it out. It's pretty neat. So as you see, there are several different passageways that all just sort of merge right here in this central area, where I'm standing. several ways in and out. Some of them narrower than others. This is going to put the squeeze on here right here.